Are you deluded? Chances are, if you're an entrepreneur or a senior business director, you need to be a bit deluded. But there's a world of difference between blind delusion on one hand, when all the evidence points in the other direction, and self-confidence. To help you, we're going to do two things. First, I've got Oliver Thompson here, who's a personal impact expert, who's going to unpack some of the theory, and then I'll come back and talk to you about the practical impact of what you can do about it.
Now, what's really interesting about our brains is how we make sense of the world. So we have 5 senses, and these senses are being attacked with billions of bits of data almost every second. Now, this can be really helpful for us because it makes us aware of the world in its entirety, but also it can be quite damaging. Why? Because actually we're creating a delusion, and this delusion sometimes can hold us back because of the fear and the survival requirement. So what we really need to do is, as mature adults, is think about asking some really informed questions around how we can bypass some of these filters that are holding us back and creating those limitations.
Oliver was talking there about fear. For me, fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And the problem with fear is it can paralyze, and that's not a good place to be. I can't do this, I can't sell to that big corporation, I won't win that order. That's just not true. We work with some of the largest global corporations, and if we were fearful, we wouldn't do that. Your strategy will give you the evidence to counteract any fear, and then you need to act on it.
So doing this once just isn't enough. What we've got to try and do is create agility and persistence, because with those two combinations, what we'll do is create neuro pathways that can grow and take us forward. A great example of this is Roger Bannister, who believed that he could break the 4-minute mile, and he had this strategy that he was applying, and it all came together just at the right time, and of course he achieved that vision. Now, what's interesting about that vision that he had is that a year later, over 30 more people broke the 4-minute mile. So that just tells you everything about how these neuro pathways can not only change your own brain, but can also influence other people's belief systems to make you more resourceful and more successful. Was Roger Bannister delusional? Well, from the outside looking in, perhaps he was, but he had 3 major factors going for him. Not only did he have a strategy that was agile, but also he had this grit and persistence because he knew he could do it. But also he took action, he made it work.
So with that in mind, it took us over 40 calls for one of our clients to generate an opportunity that ultimately turned into their best client ever. You need strategy, you need some agility, you definitely need persistence, maybe even a little bit of delusion.